We like to start every episode with the disclaimer that we are not professionals. Our conversations are solely based on our personal experiences, thoughts, and opinions. Nothing discussed here is meant to be taken as professional mental health or medical advice. If you have questions or need assistance, please seek the help of a licensed professional.
Discussions in this podcast may sometimes revolve around heavy material such as abuse, grooming, religious trauma, and more. Please listen with caution and prioritize your mental health first. Hi guys! This episode was a little rocky since we were doing a remote call-in, so forgive the technical difficulties, but we hope you enjoyed it.
Enjoy the finale episode.
Yeah,
it's a fun one.
Absolute nonsense.
Love you guys. Mwah. Mwah. Welcome to Trauma Bondage,
the podcast where we talk about trauma, kinks, and non-traditional lifestyles and relationships from a queer lens.
We're your hosts,
Brigitte
and Beth.
Hey guys, welcome to Trauma Bondage. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, Amanda, AKA Wintersnight on AO3, who is a fanfic writer, author, fabulosa.
Fabulosa. I love that title.
Yeah, she's, oh wow.
Hi. I'll take fabulosa.
Hi Amanda, thank you for joining us.
Hello everyone. Thank you for
joining us.
We'd love for you to introduce yourself, just tell a little bit about who you are, what you do, your pronouns, if you would be so kind to share them, so everybody can have a little bit of intro onto who Amanda Wintersnight is.
Well, my name is Amanda. I am 42. I have been in the fandom since the inception of the internet, so when dinosaurs were roaming the earth and whatnot. I'm a technical writer for a software company, so I'm a writer by trade and by hobby. And I have an 11-year-old daughter. I live in the East Coast of the United States, and I go by she, her.
Awesome.
Nice. I love that. Okay, so you do technical writing during the day and then fanfic writing by night.
Tech writer by night.
That's a lot of writing. So, first question for you, Amanda, is how did you get into the world of fanfic? What is your origin story? That sounds like a villain.
Oh my, the villain
story. What's your villain origin story?
The villain origin story. So I think most people get into fan fiction as a reader, as a writer, as a researcher. I think most people get into it because they find an idea, a concept, a television show that they love so much, and they see other avenues. They see other alternatives and alternative universes, different characters, different ways the story could go. So they start looking these things up on the internet. And unfortunately, there was no internet when I was in my earlier years. There were rotary phones and things like that. We had tube TVs. So pre-internet, getting into fan fiction, you had to write it or you had to meet with people locally. In the late probably 90s, when there was dial-up, I used to host these small geo sites, and you would start with role-playing games with an anime show or a popular television show. The supernatural fandom's been out there forever. But I started in anime.
Cool.
And even pre-Google, you were looking at Yahoo and searching for different sites, and you would get on message boards and find, hey man, wrote this idea out. You guys can check it out and comment on it. And threads and message boards. So that was where I started.
Okay.
These old message boards. And I found, and then we started having repositories like fanfiction.net, where you could go and find a lot of fictions about something you liked. And not just anime or a television show, but real people. It just expanded from there. Fanfiction blew up in the 2000s, and even today, it kind of replaced certain types of media. You could find other people that had your same ideas or something similar. So that's where we started.
That's so fun. I know for me, I started into the world of fan fiction, I feel later than some people have. A lot of my friends were into it in high school. And I got into it in college, and it's just the nerdiest, most embarrassing thing because mine was Glee fan fiction because I had just understood my sexuality, and there was Santana and Britney, and there was Glee, Santana Britney lesbian fanfic, and I was yes! It's this is amazing. And then from there, it just evolved into madness. Yeah. So I guess for me, that was my inspiration and diving into the deep end. What would you say, I know you've sent us one to read and it was about like Nightwing, Dr. Drake. What are some of the inspirations? What were the fandoms where you were like, oh my gosh, this is what I have to write about? Like, how did you get inspired to start writing what you're writing? And honestly, if you can give us a snippet of like, to tell the listeners what it is that you write specifically, that would be awesome.
Gotcha. So back in the late 80s, fandoms are, like I said, diverse. Don't ever let anyone shame you for your fandom. That's wrong. Mm-hmm. Love the fandom you love. I got really into comics in the late 90s, mid-late 90s. And DC Comics has a hero called Batman. Everyone knows Detective Comics. You know of Batman, even if you know the Adam West or,
Was he Batman?
George Clooney, Val Kilmer, who was a hot Batman. I'm just saying.
There are some hot Batmans. The worst one was the recent one.
What was the recent one?
The recent Batman.
Oh, why?
The Dark Knight trilogy?
Robert Pattinson was okay.
No, not Robert Pattinson. What was the one right before that?
The Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, Batman Begins.
What's his face?
Ben Affleck.
Yes,
that's
the
Affleck
one.
Was awful.
I hated it.
Okay. Look, I have criteria for Batman.
Yeah.
There has to be, criteria for a good Batman. He has to be a good Bruce Wayne and a good Batman. If you don't have both, you don't have the character. I mean, personal opinion.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's true.
But thank you. You gotta have both halves of the same character. But Batman has a sidekick. His name is Robin. There have been 5 Robins, and my favorite is the 3rd. So I walked into this fandom that had a view of how this character was from the comic books, right? I wanted to write something that showed these comic book characters that held on to trauma, that were more 3-dimensional. From each issue to the next, everything ends and everybody starts out like fine. There's never any trauma that passes over and carries over from one arc to another. You never see that. So that's when I started writing Tim Drake fanfiction. 3rd Robin, he's my favorite. And it is such a misnomer that fanfiction authors are here to fetishize queer relationships, because I don't believe in that. We see something in a character and we want something for them. So hooking him up with other male characters in that universe and, writing him actually enjoying himself was a big pull for me. Mm. And a lot of people wanted to see that too. They wanted to see this character in a 3-dimensional way with complex relationships, with sexuality, with things beyond a mask. And so that's when I got started.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I've written stories about him ever since.
That's awesome.
Do you primarily write about queer relationships, or do you have more straight fanfic that you have written?
I write more relationship and shipping fanfics, which you ship somebody with another character. Okay. The fandom meme is that there's a character in every medium that's the bicycle, right? This is the town. So the town bicycle, you could ship this character with anyone. It's Tony Stark in the MCU. It's Clark Kent in the DCU. It's Dean Winchester in the Supernatural fandom. Oh. It's Bakugo from My Hero Academia. All these fandoms have a bicycle, and Tim Drake is my bicycle.
That's really cool.
I can ship him with anyone.
I love that.
I can ride him anywhere.
And those stories are fun because DC Universe, like Gotham City, is perpetually dark and depressing and crime. So when you write fun relationships and you can write campy dialogue, that's the fun part of writing fan fiction. You can make the world more real. Mm. You can give it more dimension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. I myself haven't delved fully into the world of fanfic, so I'm learning things as you're talking about what people look for when they're reading a fanfic and what people are trying to give their audience whenever they're writing a fanfic. What was the first do you remember the first moment you were oh, okay, I'm going to just put pen to paper and start writing one? And did you ever put that out into the world? Or did you keep it to yourself?
Do you have a secret notebook where you were here's my
this is so embarrassing. Look, I'm going to admit this. Look, I've never admitted this, but my very first fan fiction was Power Rangers.
Yes! I love that! Power Rangers is actually good.
Kimberly was my secret crush.
Okay.
I thought Kimberly was amazing. I also like Jason and Tommy. So those were my first fan fictions at 11 years old. Again, no internet. So I have stacks of notebooks from all of these different other like mediums that I have written fan fiction about. Power Rangers, there's a certain author, Laurel K. Hamilton, that writes an Anita Blake series. Just all of these different like all these ideas. So I've written fan fiction forever. But writing it and posting it on the internet for people to see was kind of a bad experience. Just because the nature of the purge, you have all these platforms and every platform goes through a purge. You suddenly get community guidelines and NC-17 material isn't fine and they're purging it from their site, right? This happened at LiveJournal. This happened at Tumblr, which are very like prolific fan sites where, that's any platform that has advertisements is going to purge any NC-17 material. And fan fiction is a huge part of that. But there's people out there that put fan art that is very spicy in itself. You have like all the Bondage. Like I see one character as a dom and one as a sub. And here's, incredibly well drawn or even just conceptual, something to get your content out of your brain and onto paper. So there's a lot of that just kind of disappeared in the fandom. And one of my first fan fictions was unfortunately from an old platform. But yeah.
I was kind of coming through Reddit at one point, and I had come across something where there was somebody that was like, "Oh my God, I love Wintersnight writing, but like it's gone from the site that I used to like, where does somebody have it? Does somebody have it? Can I find it?" And so people are like sending, like, I guess they downloaded it and saved it over time so that they could go back to it, and are like sending people like, "Hey, here it is, you can read it." Like, so clearly people are still like, just so you know, like paying attention and wanting to get a hold of your writing and are sharing it across the platforms because you have fans that want to. So I guess, I figure that you probably have a pretty decent following and you actually had fans that wanted to like read your writing. How was that for you? Like realizing that, but then also seeing that people wanted to like read what you were creating.
The last couple of years I've been on hiatus because work, my daughter's getting older. And I recently released a lot of fics back in the wild, which is what you're talking about. I had a bunch of fics for a while. I just put them away. So, and people were on me on Tumblr and, they wanted the fics back and they were very supportive about it. So I did let them back into the wild. Now all these fics are out there and kudos are kind of like a like. When you like a post, a kudos is that equivalent on Archive of Our Own. One of my fics has over 3,000 kudos and that is amazing. Absolutely incredible. That's incredible. Yeah. That's a lot of people that want to read these things.
For sure.
And I started out with like 30 people that wanted to read these things, 30 or 40 people that I was talking to every couple of days via chat. And, this is what you want to see? Bet. I got you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, you want to see, you want to see like double penetration? I got that. Hold on. Let's do that.
Yeah, double penetration. People want to see it.
So how much did you like take requests like that when you were first writing to like shape the nature of your writing? Yeah.
So many in a lot of different forms. So Archive of Our Own is this massive archive of fics, and you can comment on those, and you can leave ideas. But Tumblr, you can direct message people. You can't do that on the archive, but you can direct message people in Tumblr, and you can get asked where you can anonymously ask someone, well, I see this happening in your universe. Can you write that? Yes times 10. I will write the fuck out of that. Excuse me. Let's see. We want bondage scenarios. We want safe, sane, and consensual.
Always.
Here is my criteria. And there's so many tropes out there that people love. That's a huge part of fan fiction, is a trope. This is enemies to lovers, angst and hurt comfort, and they're sharing a bed, or they were roommates. All of these tropes that you can use, and people want to read those.
Yeah.
They were roommates. Everyone wants to read that. They're stuck in an elevator. There's one shower. You both need to get clean. What are you going to do?
Oh, no. We must conserve water.
Yeah, we love that. And people want to read that sometimes. They want that campy thing that you can see in every fan fiction universe. And those are fun. But then you get into certain things like there are worlds where you have everybody is either a submissive, a switch, or a dom. You have a world where everyone is an alpha, an omega, or a beta. You know, you have worlds where everybody is one designation or another, and it's not something based on gender. There's secondary genders, or you know, there is a consensual power dynamic there, and those are always so fun to write, especially with characters that are vigilantes. They're people that have to be physically and mentally on top of their game. So writing those things, one of my favorite fics is a submissive universe where there are designations of dominance, there are designations of submissives.
That's my favorite universe to be into.
God damn it.
I will send you that link.
Yes, please. Oh my God.
Oh my.
So what is your, I guess maybe not most popular, but what's your favorite fanfic you've ever written?
Or like favorite trope to write about even.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. We got to make you choose
so
between all
much.
your children. Sorry.
And they are my children. I love all my fics. I'm going to say, from an analytical perspective, people like my Dr. Tim universe, with, you know, and the neat thing about this fandom is that one of the characters is an acrobat, a literal acrobat from Haley's Circus. So Dick Grayson is very flexible, and you get to work with that. And one of my favorite things to write in that fic was an acrobatic BDSM scene.
Ooh. I need to read this one.
Yes.
I want to read this one.
Yes, you're hanging someone from the ceiling in a very complex bondage scenario, and this person has the ability to climb all around you and to do whatever to you. So that is the scenario.
A dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think without reading your work, that's also my favorite.
Yes. All right, I will send you that specific chapter because that's fun to write, because your brain has to go through the logistics of how that works. And if you're in a certain type of scenario in your real life, you know, fan fiction is like any other art. It does depict real life in a lot of ways. So in my own experience, like my experiences with Bondage, that would have been really cool to experience, but logistically, how would it work? Without somebody falling and breaking their neck.
The science.
How far off the ground are you going to be suspended?
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what makes that fic one of the more fun for my readers, because I'm not a doctor. I obviously have not been in these scenarios, but the way I can think around it and still make it hot and still make it something worth reading, that you need to put it down, stand up, get a drink of water, take care of yourself, and then come back.
Yep.
That's something that, you know, is fun to do.
Yeah.
My personal favorite is a fic called Fracture.
Okay.
And it's more of a continuation of an arc for this character that just got lost. DC Comics was like, nah, we're going to retcon everything and go to a universe called the New 52. And it kind of ruined the character in some ways. Fans will argue that point. But that story is more of a logistical, like the vigilanteism behind it and working up to what's called another favorite trope, the slow burn. I love two tropes. Two tropes are my favorite. One is the slow burn. So it takes a while for these two characters to get the momentum, to get the chemistry. Or I do enjoy the chase.
Oh.
You have one character that's like, nah, I am not with this person. But then you have a relentless partner that's like, nope, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do things I need to do to like bring you to my side.
Yeah.
And to fall for me.
Yeah.
Bethany's very
and those are very satisfying.
A chase kind of gal. She loves the chase.
I like that. My favorite trope is like a bully romance. I love a bully romance, or like enemies to lovers, like anything like that. I'm like, I love a hate fuck.
See,
Like,
my issue is I love a slow burn, but at the same time, I'm like, I just want them to fuck right now.
you're impatient.
I'm so impatient.
Yeah.
Instant gratification.
So that you're impatient was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic.
Look, this is just my personality.
I love that a lot.
Can you
You
tell
two are
that I
cute.
am related to my sister at all? Are we very similar in personality? That's what I want to know.
You know, I adore your sister. Your sister is one of my favorite people on the planet. I don't know if you know that, but
Same.
like I love Rachel so much. Rachel and I became very, very close. And that's why I was like, Wolf is here?
Yeah.
That's her man. Oh, I want to see her man.
He's hiding in the corner.
I'll pop in and say hi.
He'll say hi at the end.
Okay.
But like, it's to a point where like I sent your sister bracelets for Christmas because I adore her. And you are that same very positive, like draw. Like you have a natural charisma just like Rachel does.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. She basically raised me. So
that's your mother.
She's basically my mom. in no uncertain terms.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
One thing I was really curious about, because being an artist myself, being married to one, you're an artist. Mm-hmm. You know how your life and your art like can really intertwine with each other, and like they kind of are connected, but you also are kind of forced to keep them separate based on like circumstances and what you do in life. So like, how has your fanfic impacted your like everyday and vice versa?
I've always been a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer, and I write very complex technical documentation for a living. Mm-hmm. So writing fan fiction is taking myself out of that. I can let go of the focus. I can, and it's terrible. And I will never admit this to another person ever. But during work hours, I do that sometimes. You're writing, you're focusing so hard on something for your job or doing something for like school or whatnot, and your brain just like, you know what? I'm done. I want fun things. I need that dopamine hit. And those are my dopamine hits during the day. I grab my phone out and I'm like notes, or I have these terrible, terrible notebooks all over the place. They're everywhere. They're horrible.
Oh, I love stickers. Prepare to be boarded.
Stress is my power. That's funny.
I love those. That's great.
That's cute. That's
so you
really
just fill those suckers up.
That's the smut one. Well, if I have a smutty sounding sticker, then I can't let that near people. That has to be hidden somewhere in a box under the bed with like, the other things. But those are the fun things that give you those dopamine hits through the day. Mm-hmm. Some of us train our brains that focus so long and then do something that makes you happy. And then you can go back to intense focus. And that's my everyday life. I live a complex life. I'm a single parent. I have a very intelligent, sassy child that I don't know where she gets it from. Oh, no idea. And I take care of my aging parents. And the fandom was a release from all that. Mm-hmm. It's an escape. And we love that. I don't mind. And I'm also someone that taught writing. So when people come to me like, I don't know this idea. This is the shape of it, but I don't know how to do it. Girl, I got you. Let's jump on, and I will write a first, a couple sentences and lead you into it, or we'll talk it out. We'll brainstorm it. And that's what fandom interaction should be. It's beautiful like that. We can share ideas and we can put this content out there and escape from the real world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We can explore those things about ourselves that we like. We can explore our own kinks, Yeah. There is no limit online. So that's a great thing about fandom. You can explore those things about yourself in writing.
I love that. I think
amazing.
That's so beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason for both of us, we've talked about this before, that's why we love reading, because it does on the reader's end, it does the same thing. It's an escape from the hard stuff in life, the boring stuff in life, the serious stuff in life. Like, it puts you in a different universe. And so I can see how if you're like an avid writer, it would do the exact same thing. And then you get to create the story and you get to create like the outcome that you want in the story. So
a lot of power, a lot of control.
It's a lot of power. I love it.
I like it.
Yes.
We love our power. I have a couple more questions. Yeah. You had mentioned earlier that you get to interact with your fans and other people, at least on some of these platforms that are saying like, hey, can you write this? Hey, can you write this? How have your interactions been? Have you created like lifelong friendships out of any of that? Obviously, you have writers that are creating art based off of your art. What is that like? I want to hear about like the interactions with people that are actually like reading your work.
That's so wonderful. And the fandom is fantastic. Like there's good and bad in everything. So there's also good and bad in fandom. There are the toxic people that, I don't know why you're writing this. What are you doing? Like, this is not my personal flavor. So why is it online? So there is sometimes an entitlement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is sometimes an entitlement. And, I tell my kiddo, don't read comments on the internet because that will absolutely break your heart.
Yeah.
That will not make you want to create content. sometimes because
There are a
people
lot
are
of
not
trolls out
understanding of your
there.
view.
There are a lot of keyboard warriors, and a lot of people hide behind that keyboard. Or they just don't get, like, if it's not for you, just keep moving on because it is for someone else. Like, art is subjective.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And there are certain things in the fandom that should indicate that this could be triggering material.
Yeah.
Dead dove, do not eat. Go away from that shit. Don't read it. Don't do that. And a lot of people don't take responsibility for their own fandom experience or their own internet experience. You have to learn to filter out things you don't like. Look, you don't want to read about my dominant and submissive, then filter that tag out. Don't read those.
Yeah.
You know? There's every possibility to do that, and people just don't. So they would rather leave comments on your work that tear you down rather than take responsibility, which is a shame, really.
Yeah.
But then you have this mass amount of people that are going, I love this so much. Please write more. I'm here for it. I got popcorn. We're going to get it. Write what you want to write. And if you have the inclination, here's another idea to build off that. And those are the people that I will send direct messages to.
Awesome.
You know, I tell them, contact me, send me a direct message. I'll talk to you. I don't, and late at night when my kid's at bed and I've worked all day and I'm mentally exhausted. I've been writing other things. I've been doing housework. I'm taking care of my family. All of these mundane things that just build up over time. Then I go on, my platform. I go on Tumblr and I talk to people like, this idea is great. I'm going to take 30 minutes and do a quick write. And just, whatever ideas come and then throw that online.
That's awesome.
I love that.
And Discord, oh my gosh, Discord is so amazing. So there is Discord servers for fandoms everywhere. And we have writing competitions. There are some sites out there that give you, all right, you've got 10 minutes. Write until you're done.
Wow.
Here's your word count. Speed writing, and sometimes with other people doing that with you, that gets those creative juices flowing. That starts the muse, which is one of my things. My blog's called Muse, and it's the fandom that gives me these ideas and drives these ideas and motivates me to write things. So they're that uplifting force that support your work. And that's an amazing thing. Like, I absolutely adore the fandom. I have people that I talk to every day. I have a Snap. And I'm going to say this person's name and they'll know, but it's Right in Lights. And I have a snap streak with this person. I talk to them every day. I send them screenshots of what I'm doing, of my cats, my kid, my life, a full cup of coffee. And hey, morning, babe. How's it going? We're going to write some things. And these are people that I will jump on. Yeah, I jump on calls with these people and we get a Google Doc up and we tag team write.
That's awesome.
And it's just the fandom uplifts. Sure, the fandom uplifts and supports, and we love that.
Yeah.
It's part of life, right? Is that don't take the negative voices and let them get to you. Yeah. Focus and hone in on the people who support you and want you to succeed and go with those people. Because you never write specifically based on I'm trying to get to this one group. It's the people will find you.
The people that are meant for you will find you.
Yes.
Which I think is wonderful.
Yeah.
They will.
Do you get to talk to a lot of other aspiring fanfic writers as well? Have you had anybody that's come to you and just been hey, how do you do this? Mentor me, or something of that nature.
So I also taught academic writing, and I tutored people that were even outside of my wheelhouse. These are people in travel and entertainment. These are people in history that don't write often. And I don't know what to write for this. You always support these people. And people in the fandom have come to me and said, oh, your work's amazing. I wish I could write that well. No. You can write that well. You just need someone to motivate you. You need someone to help you get through the writing process. And you're going to write great things. And there's two writers that had come to me and they were aspiring writers. I would love to do what you do. You can. Even if you have, problems focusing or ADHD, or it's hard for you to physically write. Some people are auditory learners. Some people are verbal learners. They have to work through it verbally to make it work. And you find those niche people and you're all right, bet. We're going to go on Discord and we're going to do a quick 30-minute thing. And you're going to write down your ideas and I'm going to edit them and show you how to make them linear. You can make them a running storyline. Or people have sent these drafts to me. I have this Google Doc and it's just a couple paragraphs. I don't care. I'll read it. Give it to me. Let's see what we got. And you just leave comments I love this. And you do the sandwich. This is a great thing about your work. Here's how you can work on it and what you can do to make it better. And then here's something else I loved about it. You sandwich those things in so that they feel supported, valued, validated. And then they're like, you know what? I can do those things to edit it and make it better. And it is better. And I love that. And now I can post it. Now I have that confidence. So I've had people come to me like that too. And I adore them. I adore them. I absolutely want to read your things. You're sending me work? I'm on it. Hold on. 10 seconds later, I am reading your work.
Awesome.
And that's what the fandom needs.
Amanda, I'm going to employ you to help bully my sister into writing her dang book. Rachel, write the dang book.
That was impeccable timing. It let you talk for so long.
If there's anything I want to read, it's Rachel's book.
Thank you. Me too.
I want to read it.
She was like, no, she's brilliant. She has so many ideas. I don't know if you've read any of her writing, but it's exquisite. She does a great job. And I'm just like, please write it. And she's like, I'm afraid of the rejection. And I'm like, I will send it out and I will take all the rejection letters and you will never know. And if you want to pull a Jane Austen, just keep them all and I will get them published after you die. I don't care. like, come on. So yeah, I'm gonna have to employ you and help me with that one, my friend. But
okay, I am on your side.
Thank you.
And even like people now are self-publishing. People can self-publish on Amazon, and you can download all these fan fictions are being self-published now, and that is,
I love it.
We love that. We love that.
Yeah. Well, because also then people aren't being asked to like change their work or their perspective on things just to fit like a specific publisher or like an editor or somebody like that. Like you can just put out there like what's truly like what you want to be out into the world.
This is something I think about all the time is the amount of art that has been rejected over the history of like eternity that we have never seen. That was maybe some of the best stuff ever written, ever created, ever ever done, and just we'll never know that it existed, and that kills me. So
the lost art. Absolutely.
The lost art kills me. Yes,
but I think the internet and the way it's moving is changing a lot of that because to your point, like there's so many different forums now where people can post and like self-publish and get their own visibility into their own stuff without having somebody else like financially backing them or like putting it out there for them. So
making it more accessible, which is wonderful.
Accessibility.
Thank goodness for that. I have one last question for you, and it goes with those like mentorships in writing and being that kind of teacher. What advice would you give to somebody who is wanting to start into this world? What challenges should they be expecting to face? What can they do to be successful or at least just enjoy putting their art out into the world?
Oh, that's a lot. Okay. So
just your advice for somebody.
I feel like anyone coming, there's a lot. So I feel like anyone coming into a fandom that you want to create content, be it writing or visual art, come in understanding that there's always going to be someone that doesn't like it. You're never going to please everyone. There's always going to be that one person that hangs out in your comments and says, so-and-so did it better, or, I don't like this concept, or, this could be better. Like, there's always going to be that person.
Yeah.
Florida man, as it were. The Florida man in your comments. So come in understanding that, but then come in also understanding that for any idea you put out there, any way you take the trope, any way you put forth your creative concept, there will always be someone that says, yes, I love that. I want more of that. Give me more of that. There is always that person or that group of people that are with you. So, try not to find a work that you absolutely love and mimic that so closely that you're almost taking their idea. Always put your own individual spin on it. Even if you're writing a trope that 8 million people, there's a million fanfics out there about it, people will want to read your rendition of it, not you regurgitating somebody else's idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a very important thing. Theft, even though all these things are out there in space, and if someone posting on the internet, you're going to get some hate. There's always going to be people. There's always going to be people that are saying that's very close to so and so's work. You should be ashamed. So take a trope and make sure you're putting your own individual spin on it. Use your creativity. Use those driving forces to put your voice into that scenario.
That's really good advice.
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I always say that. I like that you started with the whole, like, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like what you're doing. I kind of do that in my day-to-day where it's like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because they're not all my cup of tea. Why would I expect myself to be
to be everyone's cup of tea?
Like, if I don't have that expectation in return.
I think it's a good way to, just go through the daily life.
Just create your art and be happy. Like, be happy with that. I think artists in general, especially writers, at least watching my sister with her and her writing, is that, like, such perfectionists sometimes to the point where you're so hard on yourself that, like, you want to make sure your work is perfect. Like, just create, and it's gonna be perfect to someone. It's gonna be perfect to somebody.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that, like, a lot of people don't.
Shots fired.
I know. All it takes is one person to say, I love your work, and that's all that really matters. If you can just affect one human with your art, then you've done your job.
That's how we even feel with the podcast. We're like, we know this podcast isn't everyone's cup of tea. We talk about a lot of things some people are uncomfortable with, but if we can just have one person that, like, hears something we say and it impacts them positively, or they learn something,
done our job.
It's worth it. So
that is very true.
Yeah.
And I feel like this new generation of readers. So the pandemic was hard on everybody. And that drove a lot of these new generations of readers to fan fiction. It's something different. It's something amazing. And a lot of people stepped into it not really knowing etiquette. Like, it's just basic internet etiquette.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't read it. If you don't like it, don't say anything. Just don't read it again.
If you don't want to look at it, keep scrolling.
Don't even know these are the basics.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. You don't have to comment on everything you read. You don't have to.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time invested too to
get a hobby, a different hobby. Because apparently that is the hobby. But
please take responsibility for your own experience in the fandom.
I love that.
If you know there's certain things that people hate, then don't write it or don't read it. That kind of thing.
Well, I think it's also respecting the fact that it's out there for somebody else. Like, just because you don't want it out there for you doesn't mean that you should take away someone else's experience of, like, getting something out of reading something or watching something.
How do you know it wasn't requested specifically?
Right.
Like, somebody had to have wanted it.
It's kind of what you said earlier about, like, there's an entitlement of everything that's out there has to be for me.
Yeah.
And it's just not. That's not the case. So.
Oh, you silly people.
But thank you so much.
Well, it even has to fit in a box of what I find acceptable.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's even things that fit in this box, right? And people do not remember the squick days. When something, like, triggered you, you absolutely filtered that out of your search results, right? There's a lot of questionable content out there. There's a lot of non-consensual content. And people write that to overcome the trauma in their own lives sometimes, right? So that can be very sticky, like, ground to cover in a fan fiction. If you don't like it, don't read it. Filter it out.
Take care of yourself. You're in charge of taking care of what your needs are and what your boundaries are. So yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Well, this is great. This is awesome. Thank you for sharing so much of what you do and who you are and the fandom. I know you took a hiatus. I hope you get back to writing soon, because there are clearly people that are out there that still want your work. And I want to read more of it, and I'm very inspired. So to everybody actually listening to this, go give Wintersnight on AO3 a look. Go read through some of her great work. Share it. I always say that the best way that you can support somebody, if you cannot monetize anything, is to share the work and get it out there and help it spread. So highly recommend you do all of that. But shall we dive into some spicy trauma?
More fun stuff?
It's time for Spicy Trauma.
Each week, we like to wrap up with our spicy trauma.
Tell us your spicy trauma. DM us or use the link in our bio to share your story.
I'm going to say one thing, and you never have to, like, do anything with this, but there is one Bondage fic, and it's fairly short, but someone asked me to read it one time, and it's on my Tumblr. Okay. So I have this audio file of me reading this Bondage fic. So that's a thing. It's
of you, like, reading it out loud?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Someone told me I have the voice for, like, audiobooks. So it's like an audiobook. Only it's all about another crazy trope is, like, forced caretaking. Like, I will take care of you no matter what. Only it's the Dom taking care of his very overwhelmed submissive. So it's a lot of bondage talk, a lot of, like, rope tying, and a lot of, like, calming down, kind of that kind of thing.
I love.
And it's called, like, Praise Kink.
It's almost like a CNC mixed with Bondage. kink.
You can't.
Yes.
You can't say no.
Yeah.
Let me love you.
Let's me love you.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a crazy it's a crazy power imbalance versus like, you will feel better after I do this to you. You just have to stop fighting. So
Yeah.
if that's
I am
audio
that person.
you want to use, like,
Ooh.
Yeah, no, that's literally like,
we may
that
have
sums
to go,
up my kinks
go
in
steal
one.
some things and put it out there.
yes.
Okay.
Well, I have it written down, and then someone asked me to read it out loud. Oh, you have the voice for like audiobooks. And all right, well, I'll give this a try. Why not? It's a crappy voice memo on my iPhone, but yeah, it's online somewhere. So
Yeah.
Love it.
I love that.
Nothing ever really disappears on the internet.
Never really does. No.
my spicy story. All right. Okay. So a spicy story in my real life. This really happened. And this is a lot of the basis of some of my like queer relationships and my fix. I dated someone in college that was absolutely homosexual. He was very firm in his sexuality. He had always dated men. But for some reason, something about me, he wanted to date a female. So we dated, and we were in college. So during like midterms, and if you've ever been during midterms, you know it's a shit show. It's a dumpster fire of studying and up all night and possible drugs mixed in. But
a lot of
to
pizza.
celebrate that we gotten through them, right? The cocktail of Ritalin or Adderall or whatever to keep yourself awake.
Oh, yeah.
These things. So you celebrate by, and we're in a small college in the middle of the mountains. There's not very much around. Waffle House, and everyone will know a Waffle House. We did not go home with waffles or food. We went home with the cook, and he was.
We're just cutting in and out, and Bridget and I are screaming laughing.
Of course.
That's actually going to be really funny. Jesus Christ. Discord can't handle this story. Okay.
The story shall not see the light of day.
The timing is impeccable.
Okay, so how?
Okay, I'm gonna go from we took home the cook, right? Okay. So we took home the cook instead, and he was amazing, absolutely flexible in every way. It was one of the best threesomes I have ever had in my entire life, and I will never regret that ever. Somewhat shameful as it can be. It was great.
But like, please tell me he made you guys waffles
In the morning.
His waffles were something very special and flexible. And flexible in ways I never thought I could
Very
be flexible.
bendy
So,
waffles.
yes, very amazing.
How did you did you flirt with him while, how did this happen?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you just flirted with him and he was like, I'm going to leave work and come home with you.
The place was absolutely empty. We were the only people there.
Okay.
There was 3 people working, and we literally waited for this guy until dawn and sat at the bar and just talked to him back and forth about what we were going to do to him. The horrible things we were going to do to this man. And he completely turned the tables on us. Completely
And
turned
he
the
did
tables
the
on us.
horrible things to you.
Basically, yes. Basically, yes.
Love it.
What do we know?
What do we know?
What do we know?
Let's try it again. A whole different kind of mixing going on there. But yeah, he was amazing. He was very, very capable and very knowledgeable. And people that can multitask, I have nothing but respect for.
Thank you. Okay, last question about the spicy trauma. Did you ever speak to him again, or was it just a one-night thing?
No.
Never went back to the Waffle House
Nope,
again.
one and done. Bye. It was one of the few one and dones I've ever done. But yeah, wash my hands. Fantastic time. Wow. Wow. But it's one of those meaningful pins in your lifetime that you go, I did that.
Core memory.
I I did that, and it was the best.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's the best spicy trauma.
I love that you clarified. You were like, we waited till dawn, because I was like, don't Waffle Houses stay open forever? Did he just shut down the Waffle House?
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's why I asked.
Yeah, like, did he just shut it down?
That's why I asked. I was like, did he literally quit his job so he could like come home with you guys?
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
It fundamentally changes you in your perspective. So this is one of those.
I feel fundamentally changed just hearing about it.
I wonder if it was a core memory in his life too, or if he just like is a consistent frequenter of threesomes at the end of his Waffle House shifts.
Maybe,
you know.
Some say he's still a cook today.
He's still a cook today.
Bending people every which way, turning the tables on them.
Okay, so I need you to write a fanfic about that. Inspiration.
The Waffle House guy and me.
Yeah, I'm shipping it. That's my ship. That's great.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm going to end my day on a great note.
Tip your fader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, we will wrap it up. We love the fuck out of you guys. We hope you love today's episode. Be good.
Or don't.
We won't.
We
Clearly,
never are.
Amanda isn't going to be. We
Bye.
don't recommend that.
If you like today's episode, follow us on social media at Trauma Bondage Pod. Follow Beth at Modern Day Lilith and Brigitte at Your Fae Femme.
If voyeurism is your kink, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trauma Bondage Podcast. Production by Instrumental Media. Special thanks to D. Dumpy and Wolfstar for music.